Hello and welcome to In Business Talks 2. We're thrilled to welcome you to our bonus episode, The Friday Fix. In our bonus episode, we will be discussing a business-related subject with either one of our wonderful In Business Networking members or a fellow business owner who will be sharing their advice, thoughts or knowledge on a particular topic.
We're your hosts, Tracy and Ian Earle, founders of In Business, a networking and business support community. We host online and face-to-face events. We'd love to meet you, so why not come along? The link to book is in the show notes. Our guest this week is Dave Plunkett, the collaboration junkie, and he will help you to form strategic referral partnerships and create collaboration opportunities to boost your business growth. So without further ado, let's crack on with our Friday Fix. Welcome to our Friday Fix today. We have with us Dave Plunkett, who is the collaboration junkie. Welcome, Dave.
Welcome, Dave.
Hi, Tracy. Hi, Ian. Nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
Pleasure. I suppose that before we start and finding out all your secrets and tips and tricks, tell us, Dave, what is it that you actually do?
Yeah, so at Collaboration Junkie, we help brands identify, nurture and scale referral and partnership opportunities. And I did a LinkedIn post today, actually, or maybe not today when people are listening to this, but what I actually do, and it's not, I don't make referrals for other people. What I do is I give people the skills and the strategies to be better at it themselves. So that's as a coach, a consultant and a trainer. And for me, referrals is about being more intentional in how you get introductions from your clients and your wider network. And strategic partnerships, which I know is what kind of we're going to speak about today, is how you work more closely with other businesses who have the ability and a vested interest in being able to refer your ideal clients on a consistent basis. So when I'm not busy dealing with the three kids, that's what I'm doing. I'm helping business owners with that.
Excellent. Cool. Sounds good.
Yep. So today we are going to talk about building strategic partnerships, aren't we, with people who can, I suppose, refer us. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not just that they can refer us, it's that they want to refer us. Because, and we'll all have people in our network who want to refer us just because they know, like, trust us and love what we do. And that's brilliant. What I class strategic partners as is there might be people that are in your network already, they might not be, but not only do they want to and can they, but they have a vested interest in doing so because what you do aligns so well with what they do. Essentially, you've got a shared end goal for the client that you're both looking to deliver. And that's the key piece for me.
Yes. Yeah, it is. It is.
So how do you go about building these sort of strategic relationships then? What do you do?
So
what's the secret?
Yeah, okay. So a lot of people think that it's when I speak to them, they think it's about going and finding them is the hardest bit. Actually, I think the real trick is once you've got these partnerships, making sure you make the most of them. But the starting point is for me, is about trying to be as selective as you can. It's about understanding who you really add value to. And so I have a framework that I work through with my clients, which is DANCE. That's my 5-step framework. And the first letter is D is for discovery. So it's 1/5 of the framework, but it's about 1/3 of the work. So it's all about really understanding who your ideal partners are and how you add value to them. And it's about looking at the value you deliver to your clients and going, who else would find that really valuable? And it's kind of looking at, I'm sure many of your listeners would have heard the analogy of the fact that people don't buy a drill, they buy a hole in the wall. And they're not even buying a hole in the wall, right? They're buying the shelf that's up there looking lovely and the satisfaction that brings, or the peace and quiet they get from whoever's been asking them to put said shelf up. And using that analogy, it's about looking at the customer kind of value chain and going, whatever the ultimate thing the customer's looking for, whether it's more leads into their business or a better run business, whatever it may be, who else is involved in that journey that you're a part of? Because they're potentially your ideal partners. I use an easy example would be a website builder and a copywriter, right? People don't go to a website builder to build to get a well-built website. They want a website that delivers whatever the end result is. And so for a copywriter, website builders are brilliant partners for them because they come before them in that value chain.
Yeah.
And the partner piece is all about, it's not about the copywriter saying to the website builder, we should work together because I can deliver great copy for your client. It's about the copywriter going to the website builder and saying, we should work together because I'll help you deliver a website that delivers better results for your customer. It's a really subtle shift, but what you're doing is you're taking the value that you deliver to a client and finding partners who care about that. And you're talking about how you add value to the partner, not to the client. And that's if you can find those people that you make look great, then you're halfway there. You're halfway there because you're immediately more focused when you're networking and you're looking to form these relationships. You really understand where the value lies.
And so coming from a networking background, as we do, that really resonates and really, really does make sense. And you can see those where strategic partnerships might form, but it's just putting those people together and hopefully they will have that discovery conversation, like you say. So once people have found these people who they are identifying as strategic partners or would potentially like to be strategic partners, how do you go about persuading might be the wrong word, encouraging them to be your strategic partner?
Yeah. You know what? There's a really interesting thing that persuade, because when it comes to kind of actually going out there and getting partners, which is the E in my framework, engagement, so it comes at the end for a reason. I always say that you should never have to sell a partnership opportunity, right? You might have to lead a conversation, right? But it shouldn't feel like you're pitching. If you are, then either you've got your value proposition bit wrong, it's not quite resonating well enough, or occasionally you could just be talking to someone who just doesn't get it, which does happen, right, from time to time. So yeah, and in terms of that leading a conversation, it should be, the other person should be as excited, if not as excited, but they should be excited about the opportunity as you are. But a lot of it comes down to setting expectations. So I speak to so many people, and I've been a part of so many, we can't really call them partnerships. They were going to be partnerships, right? And everyone shakes hands and it's world domination awaits, right? And nothing ever really happens. And it fizzles out. And I think it's because when we're in those early stages and everything seems amazing, and it feels almost counterintuitive to take a step back and to take a deep breath and go, well, what does this look like practically? Who's going to do what and when? And actually, often the partnerships that fail to deliver are the ones that have the biggest scope, because you spend so long planning out the big things that you never just get going. And some of the things I'm a big believer in is with any collaboration, however big or small, is what's the little thing you can do to just get going? Is it a content share? Is it what can you do that just gets the two of you working together? And so for anyone listening to this who's kind of thinking about how they can maybe solidify some relationships that they built networking where there is that synergy, it's what's the easiest way to add value to each other's audiences? And then just be very clear about who's doing what and when, and document that. And that's, for me, the best way to kind of at least get going, which is crucial.
Yeah, I suppose at least that if you get something written down and some sort of framework, you both know what you're doing then, don't you? So it's it's a mutual thing, isn't it? Yeah,
absolutely. And I think it gives you a chance to test the waters. One of two things happens. It kind of, you get going and momentum's built, but it gives you a chance to see what the other person's really like to work with. And if that all goes well, then the key is trying to put some process behind it. I always say it should be process behind the scenes, but still feel very personal front of house.
Yeah,
and it's about working with your partners, looking at their own customer journey, and going, well, where can I proactively add value to your clients and you within that customer journey, and actually really start to ingrain yourself within each other's processes, because that's when things move away from being something that someone wants to do and means to do to something that just happens automatically. And that can be really important when you're working with larger teams as well, because you may have a great relationship with a business owner, but if they're not the people that are going to be activating the partnership on a day-to-day basis, there can be a disconnect.
It's not going to work, is it? Yeah.
Right. And so they take work, they're strategic partnerships because they need a strategy. And so it's about sitting down and really planning out how you're going to engage with your partner's audience in a way that delivers value for everyone concerned.
And are sometimes strategic partnerships a bit one-sided? They're more for one person than the other?
Absolutely do. And it's a question that gets asked a lot. And I do a reasonable amount of work in the agency space, kind of creative agency space. And there's a tendency there for this to happen a lot, where people class everyone as partners. And it's all based on cross referrals. Cross referrals are great. I'm not saying we shouldn't refer people both ways, but there is a real danger that if the relationship is purely based on that, I said about the customer value chain around kind of there's that end-to-end piece. The person that you can refer people to, loads, are people that come after you in that journey. The people that are able to refer you lot to people that come before you in the journey. It's quite rare you find people that are bang at the same point, and so there can be this equal passing of leads. And so if you're talking about the value of the partnership being number of introductions passed, then yes, Tracy, typically one person will get more than the other. But the value exchange back is that they're helping the person that's giving them the lead deliver a better end result for their partner, an end result for the client. I'm a believer in commercializing these relationships as well. It should never be the main reason why someone wants to refer you, but I don't think it hurts. It helps elevate the relationship from a friendly handshake to something that's more, slightly more formal. And I think all you're doing, you're rewarding someone for the effort they're putting in. So I think,
Because I know when I used to make wedding cakes, quite often I was kind of the last on the bride's list, after the flowers, after the photographer, after the venue. And I had a photographer who used to refer a lot of people to me. But by the time they got to me, it was like, well, yeah, everything's sorted. So I couldn't refer back up the chain, really. So for all I could, talk to that photographer or the wedding venue, and they would be happy to point them in my direction. It was often very hard to do it backwards, so it felt a bit one-sided. That's what, that's where I was going with that.
And I think that's where the partner value proposition, Tracy, because what you were doing was allowing them to offer a better standard of service to their clients, right? Because they had a need and they knew if they referred you, you wouldn't let them down. Photographer knows they're going to get a very nice shot of a very nice cake. The value, yes, it might be still one-sided in terms of lead delivery, but actually you're delivering value in a different way.
Kind of way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the piece that people quite often they do get hung up on. And it's a bit that once you understand that and also can position it correctly, it's the key to opening up. It's the key to opening up and having great partnership conversations. So.
What's one of the best, without naming names, what's one of the best strategic partnerships you've witnessed or have you been part of? I mean, obviously, don't name names. It's just give us examples of, be vague.
Yeah, and you know what? I think it's such a broad question, right? So one of my favourite partnerships, so one of the people who I think are a partnership masters are Lego, right? Because if you think about if you walk into a toy store these days, 80% of the Lego sets that you see are not Lego Town or City, whatever. They're branded other kits. And they partner in such clever ways because Star Wars, another thing I love talking about, they partner with Star Wars and they sell big expensive kits to grown-up boys like me. Knowing that feeds the whole next generation of of people because I buy Lego and Star Wars Lego for my sons, right? And so they align themselves really well with the right brands to do credit. So that's one that I would always say. But then it's where using during COVID, you saw brilliant collaborations of people coming together that normally wouldn't for the great good. And so I think in all walks of life, you can find brands that partner in a really strong way because that delivers this mutual benefit. There was one I know when Spotify launched, they did a tie-in with Uber in that you got free account and then you could link it in so that it would play through your Uber, and it got them loads of extra. It was when both brands were still kind of coming through. They weren't quite the behemoths they are today. And so when you can it's all about just finding that common bit of value, that common experience you're looking to deliver for a customer, and going, how can we enhance it? And so I think there's so many to mention.
How easy is it to then, do you think, find your collaboration partner? What sort of process do you have to go through? What do you have to think about to find the people? Do you have to think sort of, common phrase, and outside the box? What is it that you have to do to think, I want to work with this person because, or what might be a good...
Well, I think once you've
got... Is there a process?
Yeah, once you've got that value proposition in place where you've kind of thought about, and the easy way to do that is to think about your ideal client.
Mm-hmm.
What are all the their role, their business, their position within the business? What are all the other things that they're buying, or relationships that they've got, and then come up with a big old list, and then work through that list and go, who's got the most alignment with what I do? So, are they talking about similar things? Do they have the right level of authority that the conversation is relevant, and is the audience the right fit? Because there's not only the sector, there's the size of business, right? Once you've got that and you've got your partner value proposition, in terms of going out and finding them, it's back to networking.
Yeah.
Right? For most people, they've got partners within their network already. And if your relationship's too close, then you feel a bit icky. You can ask them for help. You can if you've got a partner value proposition, you've built out a program, and there's someone in your network who fits the bill, then a great way to kind of test it is to ask for help. So, hey, Ian, I'm building out a partner program. You're right within my target demographic. I don't suppose I could ask for some feedback on it, could I? And most people are nice people. They'll say yes.
Yeah.
And you'll get good feedback on your program. Maybe you'll say yes to being a partner. Or if you're not going to say yes to being a partner, you probably know other people like you who could be partners. You'll make introductions. And your network, and particularly if you're part of a community like you run, actually asking for referrals to partners is so much easier than asking for referrals to clients. If you ask for a referral to a client, or a potential client, the person you're asking knows that there is, no matter how soft you are, there is a sell implied within that introduction, right?
Yeah.
If your partner value proposition is right, asking for introductions to partners, that's just a win-win opportunity. There is no sell involved here. You're looking for an introduction to a discussion. So in terms of growing your network of potential partners, it's a wonderful tactic for networking. To go networking looking for partners rather than clients is I don't know your views on it, but I always think it's a much softer way of doing things, I think.
No, I like that. And I think it's good that I like that. It's you're right, it does take it's not as harsh somehow, is it? You're getting there, but via sort of a slightly longer route, aren't you? Without having to
sell yourself.
Sell so much, which people instantly balk at, don't they, sometimes? So I like that.
Yeah, and if your ideal clients are in the room, well, most people are intelligent enough to still respond to that, right? They're not going to they won't want to talk to me. They're only looking to talk to accountants as partners, right? So it's a way of genuinely going and looking to build your partners and promoting what you do, but as you say, in a much more hands-off kind of way. So
yeah. Oh no, it's interesting. I like that
softer approach. Jolly good.
Yeah. Do you have any? You mentioned earlier about your dance acronym.
Yep.
Is that something you want to share, or is that
We've kind
not a secret, is it? I'm not giving you your secrets, who am I?
So discovery is the first one, and that's about the partner value proposition that we spoke about. Who's your ideal partners? A is assembly, which is about making sure you've got the right systems in place. This won't win you new partners, but it will keep them. It's about building and maintaining trust. And it's things like, how are you handling inbound leads? Are you tracking them? Are you able to, what's the structure of your partnership? What commissions you pay? All that stuff. Making sure you've got some really solid systems that sit behind you. In terms of tracking leads, I always say it's better to have a spreadsheet that you use than a CRM system that you don't. But whatever you're doing, if every time someone gives us an introduction, they're not just giving us a lead, they are giving us a little bit of their reputation to look after.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing any of us have got. So you need to treat that with respect. And so being able to accurately let your partners know where people are either in your buying journey or customer journey, I think is really important. And so you need to make sure you've got the systems in place to do that.
Right.
And it's all about nurturing, which is communication processes. How are you really building and maintaining a relationship with your partners? And that's a mix of transactional things, like keep them up to date on what's going on with introductions they've made, but also not forgetting to really build the personal relationship. There can be a tendency to over-automate partnerships sometimes, particularly in like the software space, but actually it's a relationship-driven thing. So it's the setting expectations that we mentioned at the outset, onboarding people properly, but then taking the time to really get to know your partners well. Outside of the day-to-day, sit down, have lunch, find out what else is going on in their world, because you'll get more opportunities for that way.
Yeah.
Curiosity is the birthplace of opportunity. How many times have you been working with someone and they've said, oh, we're just doing this with this person, and you go, well, we do that, and they go, do you? I never knew. And you unfortunately, we're not front of mind all the time. So by having kind of taking the time to make sure you're continually pressing the flesh, for want of a better word, it just that. And then C is connection, and that's actually helping your partners to connect you to their audience. Don't just say, yeah, great, and then wait for things to happen. If they're going to be personally introducing you, let them know what to listen out for, when to refer you, how to position you. And then if they've got a bigger list and maybe a backlog of customers, then what can you do to add value to it? Are they running podcasts, for example? Or can you get your content in their newsletters? Like, if you've got your value proposition right, your partners will want to put you in front of their audience because you're adding value to them. And so really exploring that and making it easy for your partners to promote you, because the easier you make it for them to do it, the more likely they are to do it. So and then E is engagement. It's about, as I said, leveraging your network and going out and building partners. So so that's the framework. Well, obviously there's a bit more to it than that.
Yeah, that's just like an overview. It's an overview. Yeah.
That's they're the kind of, for me, the 5 core areas that you need to make sure you've got nailed down.
Yeah. And you do a podcast? No, you don't. You don't do a podcast itself. You do a webinar quite frequently, don't you? One's about referrals, isn't it? And one's about strategic partnerships. So if people want to learn more, how would they find out about those?
So either head over to collaborationjunkie.com, or probably the easiest way is to connect with me on LinkedIn, and I promote them there. And I normally run them at least monthly, and I alternate between referrals and partnerships. So that's really good starting point if it was come and find a little bit more.
Good, great stuff. And I suppose that's the best way to get in touch with you for whatever reason, if they want to work with you as well.
Or find out more about you. Is that the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Absolutely. Website and LinkedIn is kind of the places that I can hang about. I hang about most. If people want to drop me an email, I'll happily kind of provide that over to you. You can drop it in the links and all that.
Yes, I will. We certainly will.
And you UK wide. You can do this UK wide, really, can't you? You can do it anywhere, can't you? On Zoom,
absolutely. I do kind of direct to team consultancy and coaching stuff, but I also run group programs that are online. So I've had someone from Brazil on one of the group programs actually. So yeah, it's not geographically defined. So all are well.
Sounds good.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I think we got some good stuff there from Dave. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dave, for that. Appreciate that.
Well, it's a pleasure to be on. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And I hope to see you again soon.
Yeah. Take care, Dave.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. We're almost at the end of this week's show, but just as a reminder before we go, don't forget to book your place at one of our online networking events where you can meet some great business owners and build those business relationships. If you're in the Leeds, Harrogate or York or Wakefield areas, then why not come along to one of our face-to-face events? We'd love to meet you. We know that the best business comes from the best relationships. The link to book is in the show notes. Now, do you wish you could network with more confidence? We understand the challenges you face, whether you're new to networking or simply looking to improve your skills. Our Networking Know-How course will take you through the process and provide you with the practical tips and techniques to help you make more meaningful connections.
We'd also like to mention our books, which are available on Amazon, and How to Improve Your Business Networking Skills, which is 52 tips to help you with your networking. And Notably Networking, a one-to-one networking notebook, is a place to keep all your notes from those valuable follow-up one-to-ones. And last but not least, our 90 Days to Your Success Journal, where you can plan, set and plot those actions that you will take to achieve your goals. Thank you so much for joining us this week on In Business Talks 2 Friday Fix. We hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, all that we ask is that you simply tell a friend about the show. Please follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. We'd really appreciate it.
Until next time, this is Ian and Tracy, and together we are in the... Where were you?
I said together too quickly.
We'll try that again. Until next time, this is Ian and Tracy, and together we are in business. Goodbye.
Goodbye.